Alright, what's up guys? This is my first YouTube video, so please bear with me. It's not going to be anything pro. I just kind of wanted to start making these to share my experiences, with psychedelics. As I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and I feel like I connect with a lot of people and their experiences. So I figured I'd like to add something to the community. My name is CJ. I'm from Toronto, Canada. Currently, I'm in Bangkok right now. I can't really see anything outside because it's completely dark out. I'm basically in Bangkok right now. I've been in Thailand for about 2.5 weeks, and in 2 days I'll be headed to India. Just a little bit about myself. I work in the music industry remotely from my laptop, so I'm able to do some traveling. My home base is Toronto, Canada, where I do live. But anyways, I kind of wanted to just talk to you all about my first experience with DMT, which was in the form of Changa, which, a lot of you probably already know is just DMT that's mixed with, another smokable spice to kind of mellow out the buzz. It's not, the full freebase, although, it still has the same effects. You don't blast off so quick. It's a bit more subtle. Sometimes you can have a really strong mix that's just like fucking like 80% DMT, 20%, your mix, and boom, you smoke it, you're off. But aside from the point, this first time I smoked it was, almost a year ago. It was in the summer of 2017, so it would have been last summer. Right now it is May. Well, May 1st, I believe, is tomorrow. And I was in Tofino, British Columbia. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with it, but Tofino is this beautiful place on Vancouver Island. It's the furthest west that you can basically go in Canada. It's like this pristine, beautiful, beach, crazy trees. It's just freaking gorgeous. If any of you have been to BC, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like Hawaii meets Canada. So it's just gorgeous. Google fucking Tofino. So anyways, after Shambhala, I had met up with some of my buddies that were in Tofino, and Tofino basically has this long ass beach, and in the summer it's just like filled with like really cool people. Like, I don't want to like say fucking hippies because I'm not trying to be like condescending or like sound like a dick or anything, but there's a lot of freaking hippies there, and they're just cool people. Whatever. I mean, I have a hippie mindset, but I wouldn't consider myself a hippie. Whatever. I don't like to make stereotypes. You know what I mean? So I was just hanging out with this really cool group of people on the beach, and one night, we were all just doing like some acid or whatnot, and we're just chilling out under the stars, and the stars out there are beautiful. And along this beach there's like these crazy fires that everybody has, and it's just like these groups of people drumming and stuff, and it's just the coolest place to be. And there was this shaman by the name of Mark. Well, we called him a shaman. I mean, I don't know how much of a shaman he was, but that night he was our shaman. And, we're all sitting around the fire, just kind of like tripping out, having fun, like smoking joints, tripping off hits of acid, and just like, just enjoying nature and its beauty under the stars and in Tofino. And, this was also during the solstice as well. So the solstice was the next day. So, this Mark guy, he pulled out this pipe, and he basically had told everybody, he's like, yo, I have some Changa. I have some DMT. Do you guys want to try smoking it? So I had always known about DMT. I understand the molecule and like dimethyltryptamine, and I've always researched it. I've been a big fan of Terrence McKenna for years and years and years. And before doing DMT, I had done my 5-gram mushroom doses, which, if anybody has done a high dose of mushrooms, it's very, very similar to DMT. I believe it's like one carbon molecule away from it. And when you're in that fucking space of 5+ grams, you can definitely pinpoint the similarities. Like, because I mean, like psilocin, it is DMT. It's like, it's almost the exact same molecule. Anyways, so he offered us this Changa. My friend Paul hit it first, and he had already smoked DMT before, but he had smoked freebase, whatever. So he hit it, and he just like went back, and he was out, and he looked like he was just smiling. So, you know, myself being high on acid, I was just like, oh, that looks fucking sweet. I really, really want to try that. Like, I really wasn't in like this spiritual mindset that I wanted to like, you know, like, what's the word? I wasn't going into it with an intention. I wasn't like, okay, I want to figure out what's going on in my brain. I want to achieve this, and this. I want to, you know, find out who I am, blah, 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 whatever it was. There was no set to my setting, I guess you could say. So anyways, I hit it the first time, and I took one hit, pretty fucking small hit. It wasn't like anything crazy. I didn't take my 3, you know, pulls to blast off and breakthrough. It was very, very sub breakthrough. So I took the hit. I was like, and there's probably about 10 people on the campfire, and I took the hit, and instantly I was like, okay, I feel it right away. So I gave the pipe back, and I stood up, and it felt like all this energy was going through me, and it was such an amazing feeling of energy. It was just like so cool. And then these hallucinations started trickling in, like very, very, very subtle hallucinations. Like, it looked like all my friends had like these little like I don't know, like they look like little tiki characters, like they look like Mayan characters or whatever, and it was very, very nice. And then I kind of looked over, and the next group of people kind of like their eyes went kind of slightly like that, and I was like, oop. It was weird. I felt like they were all judging me. So I walked away from the fire, but I was like so happy. I was like, this is so fucking sweet. I was like, I'm never buying acid again. I was like, I'm just gonna smoke DMT now. So I walked away from the fire, and I just looked up at the stars, and it was so cool because I like constellations. I'm really into astrology, and it felt like I was like dialing into like these different constellations. And like if I looked at like the Big Dipper or Ursa Major, whatever you want to call it, or like Scorpius or whatever, I could like literally just dial into them, and I'd be right up there in the constellations. And that was fucking cool. That was really, really sweet. And you know, I kind of like just laid on the beach tripping out for a little bit, and you know, eventually, like, it went away, and, you know, there was no, like, it was very, very sub-breakthrough. It was just very minimal hallucinations, and it was really fucking cool, because I felt like I was almost, like, astral projecting, but not really astral projecting, and I was, like, so fucking happy. So, throughout that night, I'd watch other people smoke DMT, or smoke the Changa, and this one chick smoked it, and she took 3 fucking huge hits, and when she laid back, she was out for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then she started, like, crying and, like, you know, freaking out. Because I mean, if you have broken through on DMT, which I have, but in, you know, in future experiences, it can be scary. If you don't know what the fuck's going on, it's fucking scary. And that's the reason why I said this guy wasn't really a shaman, because he was just offering people DMT. He wasn't like sitting there and guiding them through. I think DMT is a very personal experience, and I don't even agree with it necessarily in large group settings. I feel like it's something that should be done, you know, with people that are A, very trusted, or B, that are experienced in it. You know, if you're going to put somebody in such a fragile, you know, what's the word, in such a oh god, anyways, if you're going to put somebody in a mindset where they're that vulnerable, there's the word, if they're that vulnerable, then you have to sit there and like coddle them almost. You have to be able to guide them through their trip, and I didn't really feel like I had this. So I watched her smoke the hit, and she freaked out. And in my brain, I was thinking, I was like, why is she having such a bad experience when I had such a, you know, lifting experience? I wasn't like off there like fucking tripping all over, you know, this crazy dimension. I wasn't laid back. I was able to maneuver. I was coherent. I was able to understand what was going on, but realized I was still on a psychedelic. So I asked Mark, I was like, hey, do you think I could take one more hit? And he's like, yeah, this is actually the last hit. So he packs me up the rest of the Changa, and this is like right before basically like the sun's coming up. It's probably like 6 a.m. in the morning. You know, everybody's pretty much getting ready to go back to their campsite or whatnot. We were actually staying in a hippie commune called Pools Landing. You should check it out. Actually Google it, Pools Land. It's in Tofino. It's like been there since the 60s. Cool place. So anyways, I took the 2 hits. I took the 3 hits. I took 1 hit, held it, exhaled. He brings it back. He's like, take the second one. I'm like, as I take the second one, I look at the pipe, and the pipe's going like, woo, and I'm like, holy fuck. So I lean back, and I take the 3rd hit, and this was still kind of sub breakthrough. It wasn't like a freebase breakthrough, but it was pretty much right up there. So basically, sorry, I picked my nose. So basically, once I took that third hit, I laid back. I was like, right. And all I remember was seeing this intense geometric patterns. It's like when you're on high hits of like acid, you see like, you know, like the Fibonacci eye or whatever, you start seeing all those, you know, the fractal universe that we were all a part of. You're just immersed in it. And it was just so intense. And then it felt like I was like frozen for a second, and I was like, oh fuck. And apparently I started yelling help, because I was like, Paul, help me. My best friend Paul was there, and I was like, help me, Paul. And I was laying down at the time, but I felt like I had sat up. And then, this is the part that scared the fuck out of me. If anybody knows anything about like Hindu religion, I'm not Hindu or anything, but I think Hindu religion is one of the most interesting religions ever. That's actually part of the reason why I'm going to India in 2 days, is to understand Hindu religion more and kind of, you know, realize it. I feel like there's a connection to DMT and the mushrooms in that religion. And anyways, aside from the point, I saw Shiva, the destroyer, and she had like all these fucking arms, and she grabbed me or whatever, and she's like, okay, I'm taking you to this other place. And I was like, holy fucking shit. And she basically felt like she brought me to like this land of like infinite geometric patterns that I was relating to hell. I felt like I was, in my brain, I was like, holy shit, you fucked yourself this time, you are stuck here. And it was like this perpetual like shock, because like what happens like when you do DMT, it releases like the fight or flight cortisol in your brain. So, you know, like you're in shock, like you're like, and I was stuck in there for like, it felt like I was in there for fucking years and years and years and years. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? And apparently I had screamed help 2 or 3 times. I was laying back, and my buddy Paul was just kind of like, you know, like helping me, like he was like holding me or some shit. I don't know, he's like my fucking best friend. And yeah, and then basically like Shiva went away, like she was fucking gone. And then I was just like in this like state of like pure geometric, like my body was gone, and all that was there, basically my friend Paul, who was apparently like holding my head, he turned into like this goblin with like this fucking headdress, and he was just like poking me in like a billion fucking different places, like poke, poke, and like his emotions would go from happy to sad to like laughing. It was like infinite emotion. It was like every single emotion in every single face portrayed as like this goblin with this fucking like headdress or whatever. And in my brain I'm like, what the fucking flag fuck have I done to myself? It was quite terrifying, but yet I can't even put a word on the emotion I was feeling. And then like I remember looking to the side, and I saw this like cat demon. And like I remember it was like this like bubble fucking head, but it was like black as fuck, and it was creepy as fuck looking, because I remember I was like, I need to get the fuck away from that thing. And it was like in my peripherals or whatever, and fuck it, like drifted away from me. Like I was so happy that it drifted away from me. And then I looked up at where the shaman Mark was, and he had turned into like this like Hindu monkey god or whatnot, and he had a DMT pipe, and he's like, you gotta take another hit. And I'm like no, I'm like, I can't even comprehend fucking reality right now. And you know, after that things get a little bit hazy, but apparently what I had done is I stood up and walked away from the fire and laid down, and I had no idea. And basically I remember opening my eyes, and I was away from the fire, and I looked up, and all the stars looked like this giant brain. It was like the universe was like this mother, and what it did is boom, it shot life back into me. And I had that whole entire feeling of like being reborn or whatnot. And I remember just feeling so grateful to have like my sobriety back and being in, you know, my sentient body, like not being out there in the fucking universe. I was in my physical body. And it was such a like humbling, relieving feeling. And I remember in the background, like Stairway to Heaven from Led Zeppelin was playing, you know, just by chance. And it was just this feeling of being completely like reborn. But I was so fucking terrified. I felt like a baby, you know what I mean? It felt like I was just fresh out of the womb. And yeah, I remember like walking back over to the fire, and like I just talked to my friend. I was like, I was like, that was fucking terrifying. I was like, that is nothing like any psychedelic I've ever fucking done. And like, I mean, I've been around the block. I've done like quite a bit of psychedelics, minus ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is the one I haven't done yet, which I will definitely try that trip to Peru shortly. But yeah, I remember asking my friend, I was like, how long was I gone for? And he was like, oh, you're gone for 9 minutes, man. And I was like, 9 minutes? I was like, in my brain, it felt like there's no way that 9 minutes could have passed there. But then it also felt like I was in there for an eternity. So yeah, basically, you know, we packed up after that and walked back to our campsite. And I remember during the walk back just being so taken away by what had happened. I remember getting back into like my tent and just staying all night and like Googling like DMT stories and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, that was my first experience on DMT. I guess I could get into some of my other experiences in further videos, and I definitely want to talk about some of my high gram mushroom doses, which, I mean, mushrooms I love. I'm a huge Terrence McKenna fan. I've been for like years. Even before I did mushrooms, I was listening to Terrence McKenna with my mom, and I've always just been interested in fucking mushrooms. Like, I don't want to just be a Terrence McKenna geek, but the guy knows what the fuck is up. So yeah, that was my first experience. Thanks for watching, and I will definitely post some more videos. You'll see India. I wish I could show you a bit of Thailand right now, but I mean, I'm just in Bangkok, just in this condo at Airbnb that I'm renting. But yeah, thank you very much, and peace and love. Take care.